And welcome into Making Sense. You know, the other day I was talking with a friend of mine. We were watching television. We saw a group of protesters light a police car on fire, let it burn to the ground. And I looked at my buddy and I said, you know, that person just burned their own car. He said, what? I said, you know, that police car doesn't belong to that policeman. It doesn't belong to the mayor. It doesn't belong to the city. It belongs to the citizen. If you're a citizen, you just burned your own car. Well, there's a lot of things going on in the country now which are causing us a great deal of concern. Today, I have with Brandt McDonald. And Brandt, you know, eventually, if you close down the biggest part of Seattle, there's going to be a little bit of a financial situation going on, don't you think?
Oh, there's no question about it. As a matter of fact, I think it totally calls into question the rule of law,
yes,
private property laws, all kinds of issues that are going to be interesting to see how the city council there, the mayor's office there, certainly the governor, and ultimately could be the White House if they try to get involved in this. It reminds me a lot, and I'm sure you'll remember that. It reminds me a lot of 1968 when we had some racial tensions going on back then. You had the civil rights movement, you had the Vietnam War protests, you had a lot of people who were very passionate in their feelings about social injustice. Right? So it was interesting because Lyndon B. Johnson back then, who was the president, said, I'm not going to run for re-election, you know, and Richard Nixon comes along and says, I'm going to be the president of law and order. And he won overwhelmingly.
Yes.
It's interesting to me to watch today how there's so many similarities with all of this going on. And certainly for all of us who saw the George Floyd video, it was atrocious.
Yes.
It was awful.
Yes.
But I think all of us have to have some modicum of decency in terms of our response. You know, follow Martin Luther King's approach, which was a very peaceful protest approach where he raised these issues to try to help all of America better understand the plight of the black community and, as I said, social injustice. This situation, to your point, with watching people just destroy property and do these types of things and hijack certain areas of the city, and watching and seeing the way that the city mayor and the police department are reacting to this is really quite concerning. It truly is. And in terms of its impact on markets and the economy and so on and so forth, I think that even our Fed chairman in a recent FOMC meeting press conference that he had, he alluded to some of these things and how the Fed is trying to grapple with how to deal with providing necessary liquidity to financial markets with all of the uncertainty that abounds as a result of the things that we've seen in the news. It's going to have a profound impact on all of us. We've seen now with the result of COVID-19 a change in consumer behavior. Now we're seeing changes in social behavior. We're seeing an enormous amount of uncertainty in terms of capital flows, the way things used to be. Even things in the real estate market where you're seeing certain aspects of real estate come under tremendous pressure. For example, we monitor things like commercial mortgage-backed securities. They're under unreal pressure because people just don't want to get out, especially with a virus that's running like it is, and then with protests and riots.
Well, you know, I'm sitting here owning an office building. This can become something that can become passé.
That's right.
Because we're learning more and more, especially in the big markets, and that's where they really have to be concerned. New York with these skyscrapers that have had floors rented to companies that are now figuring out, you know, I don't need 3 floors. I can do it on a half a floor.
You sure can, and the work at home is a big deal with new technologies that we all know about now with Zoom video and other types of technologies like that. But yes, you're exactly right. And corporate travel, which is going away. It's going to be a long time before it ever comes back, if it does. So tremendous changes in all of our behavior, which is going to have a profound impact on the economy, no question about it. And that's why the Fed has done an enormous amount of heavy lifting. $6 trillion in stimulus between the White House and the Federal Reserve.
It's amazing.
In a very short period of time. We talked about that on another show when we were here
Yes.
discussing the impacts of quantitative easing, fiscal stimulus, and monetary stimulus, and what can happen in terms of to capital markets and in terms of capital flows. Certainly, with respect to the impact on retirees, this is going to be huge,
right?
Very, very profound impact on how people monitor their retirement accounts, live out of retirement accounts, to use it to subsidize income.
Or retirement may go away. You may be having to work.
It's going to be very tough.
Yes, yeah.
It's going to be very tough. It's unfortunate, but it really will be. We've been working with a lot of our clients and new clients who are calling us because we're in this new world where they don't know what to do. I mean, cash is now a decaying asset. You're basically getting paid zero for all intents and purposes on cash. Bonds and fixed income have a lot more risk than they used to. There's now purchasing power risk in bonds. There's credit risk in certain bonds. It's a new day and age. The Fed has really forced the crowd, if you think about it, all into the same corner of the room. Even pension fund managers who are in charge of huge retirement plans all around the country, they have to deliver on these liabilities, these streams of incomes to their
clients,
beneficiaries of the plans, and that's going to be tough. You know, what are you supposed to do? Go just buy nothing? 100% stocks?
Yeah. No.
This is
This is a good time to have somebody like you in our back pocket.
Well, we like to think
I'm going to get you back in a couple of weeks. Let's talk about looking maybe more into the future of the year 2020.
Let's do it.
And just remember this, if you have doubts, you need somebody professional that can help you. You know, you don't go to a mechanic if you've got a toothache, you go to the dentist. Get to the right person, and we'll be right back right after this.